Hi, I'm Lynne Cockrum-Murphy with Sacred Spirit Podcasts. And today I'm bringing you Erin McNamara to talk with you about her work, the program she offers here in Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, I guess in Tempe, Arizona now. And I want you to all be familiar with her. She's a delightful person. This is Erin, and I know it says Robin Selby at the bottom. That's a family member, and her name is Erin McNamara. And I met her at the Embrace Your Journey expos, which I've worked at for several years, and she is one of the producers of that program. So welcome, Erin. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you,
And we'll get
Lynn.
started.
Thanks, Lynn. I appreciate the invitation. It's just wonderful to be here talking with you and with all of your viewers and followers. And Robin is part of Purple Lotus Productions. It's actually a family business. Robin is my daughter, and my grandson Lance helps out too. And so Purple Lotus Productions produces the Embracing Your Journey expos. We're coming into our 6th year. We started in 2015. So this is year 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know that I've really enjoyed them. In fact, I bought you can't see it from here, my favorite crystal from your event. It's amethyst. It's about this big around
Oh,
and about
wow.
this tall. It's
Oh,
gorgeous.
nice.
And I had seen it there several times. And I
Uh-huh.
kept thinking, oh, I want that. I want that. And then he dropped the price. So I was like, I get
Nice.
to have it. Yay.
Yay. I love when that happens.
Yeah. Oh.
Synchronicity.
Well, and they offer so many beautiful things. The jewelry there, I have to restrain myself that, like, you're not here to buy everything, sweetie. Just you can have a little
Yes.
little taste. Well, so tell us about the expo and how it got started, and what inspired you.
Um, it started several years ago. Back in 2009 is when Purple Lotus Productions started. And I was doing readings. I used to work at Renaissance Festival. I did psychic fairs and events around town, just doing readings. And so Robin came to help me at one of those events one time because I discovered when I'm off in woo-woo land doing a reading and channeling spirit and dead people and all of those things, it's really hard to keep track of the time and the money and how many people are waiting, and just I couldn't count. So I said, Robin, will you come and help me out? So she did, and it was a terrific, terrific day. And she had asked if she could bring some of her greeting cards that she makes, because she did scrapbooking. Well, she sold probably 4 or 5 of those that day, and a partnership was born. We started doing shows together. Lance started coming. He was 3 years old, and we brought him in those little red little Tykes wagon, and he would sit in the corner of the show with video on, watching a movie, and I would do readings, and she would keep track of things and sell product. So we were doing shows for other people, and then it got to be where there just weren't enough shows, and we said, well, why don't we produce some shows? And so we started doing that. 2015 we started producing events. We were at the Hilton Squaw Peak Resort in Phoenix, and we had the large Anasazi ballroom there for several years. And so a lot of people know us up in North Phoenix, Cave Creek area, and it's just grown over the years, and it's like a standard now for a lot of people. We've got a community of vendors, we've got a community of attendees, and it shifts sometimes, but there's always new people coming in, and then other people that have come before will go and come back. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've noticed there that often people will come and talk to me, and they're from out of town.
Yeah.
They're tourists, and they're like, oh my God, I get to go to this.
Uh-huh.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah. We draw a lot of people off the street too. Yeah.
Yeah. So you do readings. What, and from what you were saying a minute ago, it sounds like you are very open. You have more than one modality that you use.
Yep, that's true. I sense energy more than anything else, but I use the tarot cards as a vehicle.
Mm.
I got my first deck of tarot cards in 1976 when I was a teenager, and I still use that deck today. It's my favorite deck. So I'll tell people, don't shuffle the cards like you're in Vegas because they're older than you are. But I also read palm. I also just do energy readings. A lot of times in a general reading, a person's spirit guides will come through, or a dead relative will come through. So I've progressed, and I sense energy from guides and angels. So I do mediumship readings as well. I'm also a Reiki Master teacher, and for me, that totally accelerated a lot of my metaphysical skills and abilities. It was like neon lights, fireworks. Everything just started going off when I got my Reiki, and it all kind of ties in together.
Yeah, when I've done 2 levels of Reiki, and I really noticed the physical, like, I felt it physically, the opening of the chakras, and it was a good addition, definitely.
Yeah.
So, can you say what kind of intuition you have?
Um, well, I'm very visual, and it's more sensory. I know a lot of people will say they'll hear someone from the other side talking to them. I don't usually get words. I get feelings and images. There's a story I like to tell. I was doing a reading for someone, and I got this image of a woman I could see her apron and her black skirt and her black stockings and her black shoes. And I learned a long time ago, you just tell the client what it is you see and let them interpret that. And she's like, oh, that's my grandma. She passed when I was 3. And so I would always reach up, and that's what I would see is the white apron and the black skirt when she was baking in the kitchen and all of that. So I'm thinking, okay, I have this woman with no top of her body, and she's going, grandma. So just tell the people what you see, because I didn't hear words. Oh, it's grandma. I didn't get a name or anything. I get this picture. So, and the feeling, there was a lot of love and things like there. So I get to enjoy interpreting or trying to interpret that and helping the client. Well, see, and so you have to have input from the other person too. Like, hey, what are you getting from that? It's sharing that emotional piece, and it's very visual. Very rarely do I get words, names, forget it.
Names are tough, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you become aware of your intuition and how developed it was?
I want to say that I've always had some awareness of it. When we were kids, my sister and I would see ghosts or slip of the eye kind of a thing. She saw a lot more than I did. She saw chakra colors and all of that, auras and all those things more so. I just kind of had intuitive feelings, just kind of knew things like, oh yeah, let's trust this, let's do this when I was a kid. But then, I got married, had kids, and that's all very distracting. But then I came out to Arizona, and the kids were older, and I got my first Reiki attunement, and everything just blossomed kind of all in the same year. I started reading the cards for people professionally. I had never taken money for it before. I would just read for friends or family, or, oh, my girlfriend has a problem, strangers periodically, just to do it. But then when I came to Arizona and someone said, well, I'll give you $40. It's like, okay. So then everything expanded from there. That was back in 96, 98.
Okay, good. I just lost my train of thought. There was something that you said. So it sounds like you're very comfortable with the fact that you see and know things that other people don't.
Yeah, well, and I feel like everyone can. to some extent, sense other realms, other dimensions, other energies, however you want to call it. And I'm just used to it because I've been dealing with it for a long time, and because I'm open to it, it makes sense. I really have a very logical mind and a very science-based way of looking at things. And there are a lot of people, learned people out there who present metaphysics in a very scientific way. If you read some of the books by Deepak Chopra, even things like Einstein, Albert Einstein had a very spiritual side of it. And I remember, gosh, it's probably back in the 80s or the 90s, they were talking about quantum physics and acceleration, accelerating particles of the big accelerator, like in Sweden or somewhere over there. And nowadays, so in the 2000s, they found that the particle would disappear and come back, and somebody is surmising that, oh wow, maybe it's going to another dimension. It's like, yes, they're catching up. Real science is catching up to metaphysics. I like the way those two relate.
Oh, that's a really good example. So because the way you've talked about your family members, including your sister, so do you think that having real awakened intuition runs in families? Is it a genetic thing?
That's a good question. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, Lynn, I think everybody has it.
Uh-huh.
So is it accepted or is it suppressed?
Okay.
One of the things I'm going to tell you, and I tell a lot of my clients, now I don't know if you can see this on my hand, that I have an M in the lines in my hand.
Oh, yes, you do.
Okay. Almost everyone that comes to me does. I want to say 98% of the people that I read a poem for have the M. So the M represents the magical, the metaphysical, the mystical, and manifesting. So it's all of those kind of gifts. Now, the more defined that the M is, the more you're using those abilities. Now, there's also a thing called the healer stigmata, which you can't hardly see at all, but 4 little lines on the pad underneath your pinky. So when a person has those, the healer stigmata and the magic M together, that's an indication that they're a light worker. Now, they're very fine lines and hard to see. So maybe if you're using flour or cornstarch, you would see them more easily.
Oh, uh-huh.
I guarantee you've got them because you're a light worker.
Yeah.
So anybody that's watching.
Yeah, now I see them.
Yeah, so most people have those, and it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You develop that ability. So I want to say that everyone has it. In my family, I come from fine German stock and a little bit of Irish. So I've got the fairies and the leprechauns mixed in with the very serious side and the very religious side. And so that was my mom's side, was very serious and didn't indulge in those fantasies, if you will, and didn't allow things that weren't real she didn't entertain the possibility that they existed. So she suppressed hers and my grandmother too. But I want to say, I have a feeling that the grandmother before that, who may have been the one that came over to the US, she probably used her gifts and maybe was, the kitchen wife, the herb woman kind of a thing. Or I've got the Irish in me, that they're all out there talking with the leprechauns and the fairies all the time anyway. But it's interesting that you talk about it, because now I didn't raise my kids up in a particular way. I mean, they know what I did and I would talk about it, but I never said, okay, now here, learn about this. And yet my son at one point was reading poems for a bunch of his friends at school. I had never taught him to do it, and he was doing it wrong according to the rules, but he didn't know that. And he had said to me, yeah, I've been reading for my friends. They say I've got about 85% accuracy. It's like, show me. And he's like, this line and that line. It's like, dude, that's all wrong, but you're doing it right. So he was doing it with intuition. And then my grandson, Lance, who is now 15, but probably 4 or 5 years ago, we were doing the show up in Prescott. Sue Broom and the other two ladies, I can't remember the name, of the shows that they had produced. But so he wanted to do readings for people, and he sat in my chair and he used my cards. And for donation, he was reading for strangers, and he made more money than I did at that show. I think he was 11, 12, 13 years old at the time. Well, if he's 15 now, so he must have been 11. Just on his intuition, kind of holding the cards, but reading for strangers. Yeah, it was great.
Wow. Wow, that's neat. Well, and
Yeah.
how cool that the family is as open as they are, that the majority of you,
Yeah.
it's part of
Yeah.
your life.
It really is a blessing.
I wanted to tell you my leprechaun story.
Yeah.
I was walking in the woods in Oregon with a couple of my uncles at a family reunion, and we'd just gone out for a walk. And I kind of like stepped back and made a little gasping noise, and they said, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, well, so over by that tree, there's a leprechaun sitting at the bottom of it, leaning against it. And my uncles go, "Well, let's just keep walking."
It's like, I can't hear you. We're not paying attention.
It was so cute. So they didn't, dismiss me or put me down, but they're like, we can't talk about that. Let's keep going. Yeah.
That's funny. Now, do you think that they saw it too, or they just weren't going to encourage you?
I think that both of them that were aware of some things and had talked to me at different points about a couple of those things, but no, they weren't. They were only like a little bit open to it.
Yeah.
But, like one of them told me that after his cat passed, he could hear his cat walking in the house and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
I want to ask you about your feelings about the future, this unique time period that we're in, where there's this jarring change that we went through last year and how we're pulling out of that. How do you think that has changed us as humanity?
Wow. That's a very philosophical question, Lynn.
Mm.
And my opinion sways on that, kind of depending on the mood that I'm in. To tell you the truth, sometimes, like anybody else, we've got to find our balance, and you don't always stay going forward. I try to be positive and I try to bring in good energy. I've always thought of things as being the pendulum swing, like on the grandfather clock.
Oh.
And everything's got to find its equilibrium. And so that some of the things that have happened in our history and, the last few years, and especially last year, are very extreme. The pendulum is swinging this way. And then I think it's got to balance out. So it's going to go the other way. And kind of have some back and forth for a while until it finds a balance. Right now, people are clinging to, it seems like, the extreme opposites. And it's easy for a lot of us to forget that we're really together. We're really all the same. And we're all one. I mean, people say that all the time, but we really are all one. We're all made of stardust. We're all made of the space in between the molecules, the energy, the spirit that we are. It's all the same stuff. But people get very emotionally attached and very caught up in the now and in the moment, and fear can bring a different state of mind. And I know, because it happens to me too. Where do you think we're going with that? I hope we're evolving. I have to believe that human beings are going to continue to move forward. And sometimes, you have to have the rainy day to see the sun, and you have to see the dark to know the light. And so life is full of contrast. This world we're in now has that duality. And if people are going to choose to move forward out of that, they have to have that awareness of it first. And there's still a lot of people that are awakening, and there's different stages of awakening. I'm a lot more awake now than I was 30 years ago. I remember when my kids were little. So Robin's in her 30s, like 30 years ago, seeing a television commercial that talked about if you let it go and it comes back to you, it was meant to be. And that was huge new agey stuff for 30 years ago, and it's all over the place now. So what used to be weird is now becoming mainstream. And that brings me a lot of joy, because that tells me, as a whole, the people in our society are opening up to lots of possibilities, and that brings me hope.
I use yoga as an example of that. That
Uh-huh.
yoga is fairly new to our country, and yet it's grown and grown and grown. And now you don't have to go to an ashram to take yoga. You can go to the Y and take yoga. And so,
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
yeah, the world is shifting. And I think to the point where so many things like that, when you do talk about it with the other people, unless they have really strong views about being to one extreme or the other, they kind of get it. They're just more open than they used to be.
That's true. And that's one of the purposes and one of our missions with the Embracing Your Journey expos, is to reach people whose minds are starting to open up a little bit and make more information available to them. So people that are starting to consider alternatives, like maybe I want to choose foods that are non-GMO, or maybe I'm going to go to a chiropractor or an alternate kind of healthcare practitioner, but they never heard of Reiki, or they don't understand about essential oils and how they're part of the world of plants and food, and that can help them. And so someone that has just a little bit of an opening and an idea, I'm willing to consider this and entertain that. Well, look, here's a whole world full of cool stuff. And they go, wow, I never even knew all this was there. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do with Embracing Your Journey, is we bring in people who are just starting to learn, and some people that are evolved a lot, or involved in a lot of different things. And we can still show them a lot of different things that maybe they weren't aware of. Crystal energies and sound healing, and the jewelry, as a tool for healing. So many different things, you can't even name them all. And that is one of the reasons for the change in the format this year with Embracing Your Journey Expo. We've gone to, and let me illustrate with the postcard. We've gone to the journeys that we have. I can't put in the right place. There, see? Okay. So they're based on the mind, body, spirit concept. We have a journey for self-discovery. We have a journey for natural healing, and we have a journey for spiritual awakening. So that people can take a journey, take the 3 workshops within each one of those journeys and explore their own path in that particular area. And it explains it more thoroughly on the website, embracingyourjourney.com. No, embracingyourjourneyexpo.com. Don't leave off that little word, where people can have their own journey of self-discovery. If they like, I do want to learn more about myself, do the self-discovery and take those 3 classes. Or, I'm really interested in my body and health, and studying all of those, or spiritual awakening. And that's kind of what you've been asking me about, like, when did my intuition start and things like that. Learn about, what it's like to be a medium, the spiritual tools. And that's the one that you're doing for us. The 3rd class is Spiritual Awakening, is the tools, and help people learn what they didn't know they didn't know. And people get to choose their own direction. And that's what I love about it. And again, there's going to be new journeys each time.
Well, and I love your point that, you may be awake, you may be this aware, but there's usually more to come. And I remember getting messages about things within the earth. And it was just so far outside of my realm of thinking, anything I've been exposed to, that I'm like, no, there are no people, there are no tunnels, there's and I was the one that was getting the information. And eventually I was like, wow, there's a lot of information here, and it's okay. There's different dimensions. It's just not everything's black and white like we're taught in our in our schooling. It's okay.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So yeah, spiritual awakening is one of them that I'm going to be talking about. It'll be interesting at your event. I'm scheduled at 5:00. Be interesting to see how that goes. Because when I was writing up what I was going to talk about for you,
Uh-huh.
and when I was finished writing it up, I'm like, really? You think you're going to go there with a group of people that you've never met? Okay, Lynn. So
You can do anything.
yeah, it'll be just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, and they wouldn't come if they weren't interested. That's
Yeah, exactly. When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
great saying. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I wanted to ask more about the event. So you mentioned that there's jewelry, there's sound. You have sound healing done right there, don't you?
Yes, I want to say Brenda Zimmerman is one of the vendors, and she actually puts people on a Reiki table and does healing with them. But we also, our featured event is the Gong meditation with Karen Diane, the Gong Master, and that is unbelievable. The reviews that she gets every time, and that's a featured event. That's an additional payment for that. It's so worth it. People come back and come back and come back to that. An hour of gong meditation healing.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So there are separate rooms. So you can be in the main room
Yes.
or in meeting rooms.
Yes. Yeah, our new venue in Tempe, we're so excited to be there now. It's Sun Studios. And we're so excited to be moving the Embracing Your Journey Expo to our new home, Sun Studios of Arizona. And it provides a high energy, eclectic backdrop for our expos, and it has abundant parking, unique vendor spaces. It has a large classroom and a 200-person theater. It's a perfect place to continue growing our journeys. And it's literally 4 minutes from the 10. So people coming from Tucson, people coming from California, boom, it's right there. It's so much closer than the hotels in North Phoenix were. Now, right now, because of COVID and social distancing and things, the things that are happening in the theater, we're only allowing a maximum of 50 people. So that's 25% capacity. But we're looking forward to, hopefully by next year, to be able to put 200 people in that theater and have speakers for them.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful venue.
Will guests be required to wear masks in the general room?
Yes, in the entire building, everyone is required to wear face covering. So
Okay.
both the vendors and the speakers and the guests, because Sun Studios of Arizona is actually a production studio, and they actually work with ASU very closely. And
Oh,
ASU teaches a class in their facility. And so they've got to be in compliance with all those restrictions and things. And they also, I can't remember all the letters, but they're SAG certified, Screen Actors Guild. And there's like 6 more letters after that, certified. So people come produce movies there. And so they have to meet the requirements of that as well. They've got the hand sanitizer, they've got the sanitizing the rooms. Everyone's required to have a face covering, social distancing, all those rules. Yeah.
okay.
For everyone's safety.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting how much it causes us to think beyond ourselves and the
Yeah,
well-being of others. Mhm.
yeah, exactly. And myself, it's hard for me to breathe sometimes with the mask. So I wind up wearing the shield, the face shield for part of the time. I'll have the mask on and then I'll have to switch to the shield because it's so much easier to breathe and it's so much easier to speak so that people can hear me. And then it's clear, I can see right through it and I'll forget and I'll go and have something to drink. It's like, oh, oops. So people can wear the face shields too,
I
and
I was thinking
maintain
about
social
doing that
distance.
because I find with the face mask, because they also can only read your eyes and can't read your lips, that sometimes
Yes,
there's a communication problem.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So a lot of the vendors do wear the face shields. And it's easier doing readings, having that back and forth, with the client there.
Yeah.
it's hard for me to hear them sometimes too when I'm doing readings and
Right.
things. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, we're all kind of muzzled.
Yeah.
So, what have I not asked you about that you would like people to know about you or your work or the
Um,
expo?
One of the things I didn't go into enough, I think, was Robin and the part that she plays in Purple Lotus Productions and Embracing Your Journey Expo. She is the heart of everything. Before I was a reader, and I did Reiki and stuff like that. And Lance is kind of following along, but Robin is the one that has taken things to the next level. She uses her gifts from spirit to help people so much. Now, originally, she would be there helping me when I was doing readings, and she would get insight and visions, if you will, about what was good for the client. And sometimes even now she'll step in and she'll just say, oh, well, here, have you thought about this? And then from that evolved the whole affirmation line. She has got such a sense of what area that people are working on in their lives and can help them discover for themselves what they need to work on, because we've got 18 different varieties of affirmation products, and she's channeled this down from spirit.
Mm.
It started out with the kits where there's an affirmation written out and a crystal that goes with it. There's herbs encrusted on the affirmation that's printed on a card, and we embed that with wax, and then we give you a little candle. So you take the card and read. It's like a prayer almost. The affirmation's a good 6-12 lines long. You burn it while you're holding the crystal and send it up to spirit, and sending your message to God or your higher self, or however you look at that. And now you've got that information in the crystal that you're carrying. Well, that's fine and good, and it's great for long-term change, but sometimes you need something in the moment. And so she developed the sprays, the affirmation sprays, and they're like, the way she says it is a bat signal up to your guides and your angels. Guys, I really need help with this. For me, I use clarity a lot. I use forgiveness when I'm going to talk to my other daughter on the phone. Forgive myself. I mean, different things. And so people will come to her and tell her a little bit about what's going on, and she'll help them find which one is right for them. It's like a spiritual counselor, and through the affirmation products, it's just amazing. And so it wasn't enough. She wanted to do the Embracing Your Journey expos. And for me, what I had done was just your basic old psychic fair, here's just an expo or a vendor fair. And she said, well, no, we want to do this. We want to have certain kinds of readers, and we were doing the gift bags for a long time and doing the raffle and doing these things. And the whole idea of the 3 different journeys, this is all Robin's idea. She has crafted this, and we talk together, and I help and give her input. But the passion is for helping people discover ways that they can be responsible for the positive changes in their life. And that's her gift. And a lot of people see that she's quiet and, she's not out in front so much, but she's out there creating it and helping people. And it's just amazing what her abundance has done to help people in this world. So I want to make sure everyone knows that.
Well, I'll have to come and look at the sprays again, because I'd noticed them before, but I didn't quite get it. So I'm glad to hear your explanation.
Yeah, and she's more articulate than me about that.
Well, and there are things that are like themes in your life where a person is really here to learn about compassion, or a person's really here to learn about patience. And so we each could use some support in whatever those things are, because they kind of go on for years and years.
Exactly. Exactly. Some people, they swear by are claiming your power, because that is one that helps you to speak your truth and to stand up for yourself. And they'll come back again and again. Hey, I need some more of that, something that they're working on for years and years, as you say. And then, I guess the main thing on that topic too is that, we're all one community, and that's the way that Robin is out there, sharing her gifts with spirit and with the world. And one of the reasons for the expo is to bring everyone together, because we're all here to help each other up the mountain. That's what it's all about.
Well, and to have a sense of community with the parts of us that is maybe new age would be what you'd call it. For me, it's the living a spiritual life every day without being part of a denomination.
Yeah.
That having community and other people to share that with, or to support me, or that I can support, feels really good. It beats being alone and wondering, what else can I do with this besides sit and meditate and be happy?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
So to wrap this up, I want to repeat that this is Erin McNamara, and she has the Embrace Your Journey expos besides the Purple Lotus Productions, and is in Tempe, Arizona. There is a new location for the event. The event is April 24th. It's a Saturday.
That's right.
Coming up very soon. And people buy tickets to attend this? Is that how it works?
Yes. Yep. So in the event, it's open to the public, and it opens at 10 a.m., runs till 5 p.m., although some of the classes will run a little bit later. And people can purchase general admission tickets, and they're $5. If you purchase them online through Eventbrite in advance, and you'll get a free $5 gift when you come to the expo, and that will allow you entrance into the vendor fair. Now, we also offer the journeys, which we were talking about, for the mind, body, or spirit. It's $60, and that will give you admission to the 3 classes, 3 workshops for the journey, plus admission to the fair all day long, to the vendor fair. And there's going to be food, and you can come in and go out. You get a bracelet, and you go to your the different workshops that you want to do. Then we also have Karen Diane's it's a meditation, gong meditation, which is a separate a la carte item, if you will, and that's $25 in addition to the general admission. Now, that one sells out frequently, so if you're interested in that one, be sure to purchase your tickets in advance on Eventbrite. So you would need the general admission and the gong meditation purchase. And then we are also offering a select number of a la carte classes. For example, if someone wasn't interested in all of the spiritual awakening journey, but they just wanted to come and see your workshop, they could purchase that a la carte for $25.
Okay.
And the general admission as well. So the general admission is included only when you buy the 3 journeys in a package for $60. Otherwise, if you buy something a la carte, you need the admission as well.
Okay, good. Thanks for explaining that. Yeah, that's helpful to know in advance.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do I want to say? If you haven't gone, I invite you to go. The people that are there are people that you want to know, that you want to connect with. One of my friends, Maggie Norton, I met there, or now Maggie Clark, does tarot and more. Vivian Chauvet.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, met her there, and continue to connect with these ladies. I mean, they're just magnificent, their gifts. So yeah.
They're amazing. Now, sadly, neither one of those is a vendor at this event, but Maggie's husband, Jamie Clark, is one of 3 presenters that are doing a medium panel as part of the spiritual awakening journey.
Okay.
And so if you purchase that journey, you will get to be a part of that medium panel where there's 3 psychics, 3 mediums, and they're going to call out to the different people in the audience what it is that they're catching on and feeling about them.
Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
That's the kind of thing that you would see on TV, like with John Holland. And
right.
Yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, before we close, I want to mention I have an upcoming event that I want people to know about. It's called Imagine You Changing the World. It's on Thursdays. It starts on the 29th of this month of April and runs 3 months, so through July. It's a little over an hour each week, and limited to 9 people because I want it to be really intimate. And we will be doing healing work, energy work, manifesting, readings, downloads, healing. It's really quite a package. I have a lot of it written out and I just keep adding. So Imagine You is coming up. I invite people to go to my website, Cockrum-Murphy.com, and see if that's for them. I invite them in. I have 2 people registered so far, so there's still space. And let's see. And that maybe I'll see you all at Embrace Your Journey in Tempe on the 24th. That would be awesome. Come and say hi. Let me know, and say hi to Erin. Let us know that you saw this. And the other way to reach me is through my website, the LynneCockrum-Murphy.com. There's a contact form. You fill it out. It notifies me and I'll get back to you. So we could do it that way. Thank you so very much for being here with me today and doing this. I love being in your energy and I love hearing about your personal journey and how the work that you've done that makes it easier for all the rest of us. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lynne. I enjoy your energy a lot as well. And I want to invite all of your guests to check out the website, embracingyourjourneyexpo.com. And we're also on Facebook. And seating is very limited for the journeys and the special events. So I do want to encourage you to purchase your tickets in advance. There's a link there to take you right to Eventbrite, or you can search on Eventbrite, embracingyourjourneyexpo.com. And we are looking forward to seeing all of you a week from Saturday in Tempe. Thank you for this opportunity.
A week from Saturday. Wow.
Yeah, the 24th. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you,
Lynne.
And I will put this out there and hope it, try to make an effort that as many people as possible can see it and be informed.
Excellent. Blessings. Namaste.
And to you.
Thank you.